Yeah, so I must say I'm proud to be here, and I'm happy that I'm breaking the monotony. We have been seeing voices of the men, and now a woman is here. Sini vizuri. My name is Amollo. I am a teacher in Trans Nzoia, Cheptumbelio Primary School. I am a mother. I'm a mentor, I'm a counselor, and above all, I am a unionist, having been the Assistant Executive Secretary, NAT Nairobi branch at some time. So I'm going to speak on strategic intervention programs, and you'll all agree with me that majority of school-going children are in marginalized regions. We also acknowledge that gender and disability are a critical determinant in the access, retention, and progression of education in our society. So, Your Excellency, we are proposing, therefore, because of these reasons, two reasons that I have given, that one, we provide, I know people will say it's already provided, but the incoming government should provide sanitary towels to girls in these regions. And the question is, which have also been asked as we talk about the marginalized regions, then the boy child will ask you, what are you giving us? Number two, we are talking of 100% of teenage mothers to go back to school after delivering their children, so that they can benefit from the education bursary, 100%. Because most times you find if the father was paying the school fees, atamambia wewe ulishajifungua, I'll not pay. So they should benefit from the 100% from the education bursary. Number three, which I would really wish to emphasize, because we have teachers in those regions, sometimes they wake up and they have no children to teach. Why? The conditions there have forced the children to move away. So we are recommending the construction of low-cost boarding schools in arid and semi-arid areas. Your Excellency would also recommend that we develop a framework on multidisciplinary approach to assess, place, and support learners with special needs and disabilities, different disabilities. And therefore, the people in this room, I will request that we also change our attitude towards these learners. Number five, Your Excellency, we are recommending that we double the school feeding program. For example, if it is 2 million, make it 4 million, and even give some grants to the ECD. Before we even reach the arid areas, having taught in Nairobi for 24 years, I'll tell you that this school feeding program is important because it helps to retain learners in schools. You find that a learner will come to school not because of any other thing, but because they are able to get the food which is provided, the school feeding program. Your Excellency, I would also wish to say that we need, as teachers and learners, as an earlier speaker said here, conducive and safe learning environment, security in these security-prone areas. And when I talk about security in those prone areas, allow me, We were told it is only 4 minutes, but I'll request on affirmative action to be added a few minutes. So I would like to present to you, and Your Excellency, I want this teacher to be upstanding. Nelson Kirui, the only Kirui that I know. Now, Mr. Kirui was punitively transferred. He is the gentleman who received his letter outside the hospital when the wife was in the maternity theater. When he reached his new destination, this place was not safe. What am I saying? That we need security in such areas. So for that reason, he was not able to risk his life. He came back, did not report back, and therefore was interdicted. So Kirui is serving an interdiction for not going to a security area. So teachers and learners require conducive and safe environments. Finally, we are talking about teachers and in education policies and their social dialogues. We are talking about Chapter 41 of the labor laws. And here you will allow me to divert a bit. I wish to divert because I am a mother, and when a mother does not take care of the welfare of the others, then you cease to be a mother. So we cannot talk about orienting or re-engineering education without looking at the welfare of teachers. So this is where I want all of us to come together, talk to us, ask questions. As I'll be winding up, I will give 3 instances. So one, we are talking about the welfare of the teacher, where policies are introduced and the teacher has got no voice. We have teachers who have gone back to school. They have their degrees. Your Excellency, I want to believe you did not become a doctor. You went back to school to get the doctorate. You had an undergraduate, you went for your master's, and you became a doctor. The same way, a sweeper in an institution will take time to learn, and then at the end of the day, we find that that sweeper becomes the director of that institution. So teachers have taken their time to go back to school, and we are saying that they should be promoted on that basis. When an employer says that today, I'm not recognizing your degree, I want you to go back to school for 30 years, and without promotion, Your Excellency, I think our new government under your leadership should do away with that. Number 2, we are talking about Chapter 41 of the labor movements. Now today, we will not go on strike because of money. Today, we will go on strike because of policies that are not allowing us to be effective in our work. Policies that will require you to do clerical duties, policies that will want you to be away from your family, and policies that are intimidating. I wish to bring to your attention, maybe if you didn't know, or maybe you know, just to remind you, that when issues come up and their education involved, teachers should be involved. Why am I saying this? Previously, when CBC came, we are not saying it is a bad curriculum, but we are saying that when teachers were not satisfied and they raised their voices, 247 were interdicted. Out of the 247, 9 died, and as we speak, about 42 have not been reinstated. So we want an environment where we are allowed to speak, we are allowed to talk in policy formulation. So that is that part where our voices need to be heard. And I wish to bring to your attention that when we have unions, unions are not there to fight the government. They are there to agree with the government for the better welfare of the workers. So as I speak this afternoon, I don't know if our NAT, our KUPPET was invited, and if they are there, then they are silent. They are silent. They are not speaking for the Kenyan teacher. So for that reason, a pressure group came up, led by myself. Fortunately or unfortunately, we spoke up against punitive policies, resulting in our punitive transfers. Because I'm calling it punitive, if it is not punitive, why was a government vehicle driven to my small school, to a classroom teacher, to deliver the transfer letter? So we don't want punitive policies in the education sector. Last but not least, I know I have a lot to speak, and this education forum, Your Excellency, I would request that teachers should visit you. Unfortunately, it is a working day. I'm even scared. Maybe from here I'll not be having my job, because we are not supposed to be here on a working day, though I'm having a permission, but somebody may change the story simply because I'm in Kenya Kwanza. So what I'm saying as I wind up, our first speaker talked about it. And Mr. Indimuli, I appreciate you for talking about it. There is this animal, the big elephant in the house, delocalization. I'm going to give you 3 instances, and I'm going to give my own example where we are together, and because of the nature of the other spouse's job, is already delocalized, working at the border of Kenya and Somalia. And so we agree as a family, but since my job does not allow me to be in one station, remain behind, take care of the children. When I have an off, I'll be coming. Then TSC wakes up and says, because you spoke against us, you spoke against this policy, we are taking you to the border of Kenya and Uganda. Where are the children left? With no father, with no mother. So this is a teacher whose salary is on loan and has to maintain 4 homes. Why am I saying 4 homes? I'm in Mount Elgon. My spouse is at the border of Kenya and Somalia. My children are in Nairobi because I have a candidate that I cannot move because he's already registered, and I have a rural home to take care. So even in Mount Elgon, I doubt if I'm effective. The second instance is of a teacher. So when I give my own example, I'm speaking for hundreds of thousands of other teachers. The second instance is a teacher who has been working for the commission for more than 3.5 decades. Today, she goes to the hospital using a medical cover that has been initiated by the employer. She is misdiagnosed. She is overdosed. Because of those 2 reasons, her condition moves from hypo to hyper, life-threatening. When she raises that issue, she is transferred to the border of Kenya and Tanzania. And this teacher, in her previous school, she lives 200 meters away from the school, where she cannot even walk. She uses a taxi. So today you are telling her to go and struggle that other end of the republic. And we are feeling the commission is not keeping to its policy of taking care of the aged, taking care of the health. Last but not least, as I sit down, and just as I've said, we need time to talk to you and the Kenya Kwanza government as teachers. A teacher is taken from Muranga, and the teacher is taken to Narok South. The husband is taken from Muranga and is taken to Masinga. Masinga is in Machakos, yes? And so what happens? The teacher goes to class and leaves the baby. She has gone to take care of the Kenyan children and has left her child in the house. So she gets a call to come back home. Your Excellency, I want you to picture this. When she gets home, she finds the neighbor's dogs have mauled her baby. So this is a teacher who is working for Kenyan children, but is unable to take care of the child. Next, she goes on maternity leave and decides that since my baby has gotten a mark, let me leave the baby with my mother-in-law. So she goes on maternity leave and comes back to report to work, only to find everything in her house is gone. Hana hata sufuria. Your Excellency, when your government comes in, we want you to look at such policies. This is killing the teachers. She was with the baby at the education office, trying to plead with the officers to take her back to her town, or even to allow her to go and join the husband. And the baby was crying. And I told her, why don't you breastfeed the baby? And she told me, Mwalimu, stress, hata maziwa imekauka. So, Your Excellency, Kenya Kwanza government, as we reorient and re-engineer the education sector, without the teachers' welfare, then we will be doing nothing. Thank you very much. We have been sitting for long before you ask me the question. I would love everybody to stand up as a teacher so that maybe we just rejuvenate. Yeah? Yes, kidogo. Yeah, and I am a teacher of music, and I'm going to teach us the musical club. And so when we rejuvenate, then Your Excellency, you can ask questions. And if there are no questions, I'll be glad to sit down. So the musical club is Kalabanda. Yeah, when I say Kalabanda, you do 1, 2, 3, okay? Kalabanda, Kalabanda, Señorita. Yeah, that one continues now on and on, like 6 or 7 times. Kalabanda, Kalabanda, Señorita. Thank you very much. And I am a great manifestation of bottoms up. Today, the classroom teacher is talking to the people at the top, not the people at the top speaking downwards. Thank you very much. May God bless you.
Mwalimu.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your presentation. I have just 2 small questions. Number 1, I asked my friend in Dimuli, but he scattered around and didn't answer it.
Yes, sir.
The splitting of teacher families. Wewe ni mama, bwanako ni mwalimu, you are teaching the same school, then you are split and sent to different directions.
Yes.
Does it affect your performance as teachers?
Yes.
Number 2, or rather, is there any handicap in your performance in being a couple in the same school?
Okay, the answer to question 1 is yes. When we are separated, there is a lot of problems, and I'll give an example. I want to mention here in this forum that the National Pressure Group did their research, and between December 23rd and March 22nd, 22 teachers had committed suicide.
Because of separation.
Because of separation. And the worst of that, I know death is death, but the one that touched our hearts was of this lady teacher who killed herself alongside her daughter. Why? The husband is working away, she's working away. Na hii mwili ni mwili tu, si ndio? Si itataka iko na joto. So she ended up, or whatever happened, and it happened that the man discovered that the baby hakukuwa wake, alikuwa wa mtu huko. So how does she solve the problem? She kills herself alongside the baby. So 3 were head teachers, 2 were deputies, and the rest were teachers.
Thank you. We'll look into that. The last one.
Yes, sir.
I support affirmative action for the girl child. I have daughters, I have sons. But I get this distinct impression that the boy child is now neglected and is not talked about and is being left behind. What are your thoughts?
And that is why when I was giving our first recommendation, I said, we give sanitary towels to the girls, which has been there, but Kenya Kwanza should continue with it. But there is this question, as I'm distributing these pads in the classroom, then the boys ask me, teacher, na sisi unatupea nini? So can we also take care of the boy child? Maybe boxers? As we give the pads, we give boys boxers. Yeah, Kenya Kwanza, maybe you will be the first government to take care of this boy child so that your violence wako nayo kidogo ipunguke. Thank you.
Okay, Mwalimu.
Yes, sir.
I think you have spoken with a lot of clarity and example on what delocalization is doing to families.
Yes.
So your recommendation, what do you think of what we are suggesting? We are suggesting that teachers are a national resource. They should be able to teach everywhere. But maybe we should do the nationalization at the employment, at the point of employment. And then subsequently, we can also make it possible for teachers to teach outside their counties or localities and maybe provide an incentive for that. What do you think about that? Do you think that will solve the challenge we have that is currently causing havoc with families on the matter of delocalization?
Your Excellency, I want to agree with you that just as the first speaker said, I was very keen on that because I'm affected, I'm a victim. Teachers are a national resource, and they should be able to work, just as the speaker said, at the point of employment, at the point of management. But my opinion is, am I willing? Because I've seen that, you see, when you give me that incentive, am I willing? There is need for me to apply, that I want to go and work in Turkana. Because if I go to Turkana, there is something that comes with it. It should not be punitive. It should not be forced. It should not be made to look like somebody is misusing power and abusing the offices that they hold. By using that, because for the 18 cases, it was used as a punishment. And now that you have brought it, Your Excellency, immediately you get into office, please take us back to our station so that we can be effective.
Okay. Thank you very much. And so it shall be.
Amen.
So, secondly,
yes, sir.
You've spoken exhaustively about the relationship between teachers and their employer.
Yes, sir.
And what seems to be a stick and stick relationship.
Yes, sir.
That if you don't do this,
We do
this.
Yeah.
If you don't do this, you do this. So, so your suggestion is that we need to normalize relations between the teachers' unions and the employer and promote a greater understanding between these two entities.
Yes.
And we should not punish teachers for speaking their mind.
Yes.
In the formal setup of what is provided for in the law, the teachers' unions and the other industrial players.
Yes.
And which I quite support, because it's a constitutional provision, it's an international provision that teachers are allowed. It's a constitutional guaranteed right to be part of a union. So what would be the form in your suggestion? What would we do as government? Teacher Service Commission is an independent commission. What do you think we should do to make sure that we improve the relationship between teachers and their employer?
Thank you, sir. And before I answer that question, I wish to ask, how independent is independent? Yeah, how independent is independent? Is it independent to frustrate the workers? So, in my opinion, as it stands now, teachers are professionals. And professionals cannot have several voices speaking on their behalf. So one, we need one union. A union that is not compromised. A union that will speak for the teachers, not for the employer. A union that will be led by teachers, because as it stands now, I'm sorry to say, our unions, most of the officials are head teachers. Na huwezi kutuma mbuzi kwa koti ya afisi. Definitely, they will eat the mbuzi. So, as I stand here, myself and other teachers have made several applications for unions, and we are receiving negative reports. So what I want us to do is to have a working relationship. Let us, as an employer, the employer should not go personal. If I have wronged the employer, this is a union serving the others. They should not go personal. So we should discuss the issues of those bodies we are representing. That is my opinion. And it will be very wrong, colleague teachers who are present, that today we are discussing the welfare of teachers. And I failed to mention one, Honorable Sosion. We miss you. We miss you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So maybe just by way of asking, I thought the leadership of the union is elected by teachers. So where is the disconnect? Because you seem to be saying the union as it is now is speaking more for the employer than for the teachers.
Yes.
Is that the case?
Because I will clarify, they came on a platform where they were conditioned. And so for them to have the taps opened, they had to withdraw everything. So we are looking at that union as a union that is speaking for themselves because of money. They're not speaking for teachers. They withdrew all the cases, and that's why you are having this tussle of TPD. Because TPD had been stopped in court. And immediately it was withdrawn, it was rolled out. And what was the feeling of the teachers? Mr. President, let me call you so. How would you feel if today you go back home and you found Mama Rachel in your house, on your bed, with another man. That is exactly what teachers felt when we saw our union leaders accompanying the employer to roll out TPD. So what did we say? They are romancing the employer on the teacher's matrimonial bed. We are not happy. So teachers, representatives should not be compromised, should speak for the teachers, and if TSC is independent, they should be able to work with anybody who is elected in that office. And I would also wish to let you know why we have so many head teachers in those offices. They have the financial muscle. So if I go there, you know, politics ya walimu sio kama hii unaenda juu ya gari. We do our politics in the staff room. So if I can buy more milk and bread in that staff room, I'll be elected. And if I only have a cup of tea, which is very long, you know, in Luya land where I'm married, when the tea is very long, they don't like it. So if you go in a staff room and you give very long tea, you might just miss the votes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mwalimu.
Indeed, Madam Kalabanda has made us proud, and she has made us awake. For the ones who were behind there, they were asleep. But now everyone is awake. Thank you, Madam. Your Excellency, before we finish, I kindly ask 1 minute of your time to call Dr. Murage Dominic, who is the chair of lecturer. Just 1 minute.